Hello guys, hope you all are doing well in this pandemic. This is Ishan from Quarantine Times, and today we are going to explore a situation, rather a failed project which was deemed as the biggest IT failure in the southern hemisphere, costing the Queensland government a whopping $1.2 billion. According to various reports and internet sources, analysts have reported that nearly 72% of ERP projects fail upon implementation, causing severe damages to the organization. As it can be seen in this case how Queensland Healthcare, under the support of Queensland government, implemented a new ERP system in order to replace their legacy system. The implementation was planned in collaboration with IBM, ended up failing miserably. A project management team called Team Infinity from Monash University is currently exploring the case scenario to gain better in-depth understanding and provide suitable solutions for the same. So today we have Team Infinity with us, consisting of Amir, the team leader, Mehdi, Ishan, Anudeep, and Moji. Now we have Mehdi with us to give an overview of how the team explored the problem.
Thanks, Ishan. In order to present the situation in our case study, we are going to use this diagram. In fact, by employing soft system methodology, we could analyze our case study on each step in order to look at the problems from different point of views and to tackle the perceived problematic situation in terms of an action-oriented process. We already shared the details of the diagram in public domain, so what we want to emphasize here is using SSM can be a way of continuously managing any ongoing situations in which we face constant changes and unpredicted incidents. Let's go through each step and see the findings.
And we did get hold of another team member. The team developed the rich picture for better understanding of the problem. However, the picture was complex to understand, hence they simplified it for the audience. Our channel interviewed Anudeep, who spoke about this.
Thank you for having me. Due to the complexity of the rich picture, we have bifurcated it into two key angles: development angle, which focuses on technical side, and value creation angle, which focuses on political and social side of the project. QHEST and Queensland are the link between the two angles. Let's go right into it. The key stakeholder within the technical angle is IBM, who is responsible for customizing the ERP modules provided by the SAP, which was deemed suitable by SSI. Now, CorpTech was responsible for assisting IBM during the implementation of the ERP system along with Project Delivery Office and QHEST. Now, looking at value creation angle, Queensland Healthcare was supposed to actively coordinate with IBM and Queensland government for scheduling the implementation of new ERP system. They had to plan training sessions for staffs and gather feedback through it, which was later to be shared with IBM. Now, to identify the major problems, team utilized two-step methodology. Under step 1, team mapped all the problems faced by each stakeholder when interacting with others. Under step 2, we used the concept of sense making for understanding the root cause of the problem, which assisted us in drilling down to the major problems. Now, based on the problems identified through rich picture and sense making, we are able to define PQR for our case. Before we go ahead, what do you think PQR is?
Wait, I think I know it. PQR is basically analyzing the act of doing P by Q in order to contribute towards achieving R, isn't it?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Based on the PQR formula, the root definition for our case would be to implement a payroll system by employing a hybrid payroll solution using best implementation practices, which provides an integrated system to enhance HR and finance business processes.
Oh, that's good. Now we have the other team members who will be exploring system thinking side of the case and simultaneously comparing it with the real case. Talking about complex adaptive systems, let me first start by briefly explaining what it means. Complex adaptive system is basically a way of thinking and analyzing things by recognizing complexities, patterns, and interrelationships rather than focusing on the cause and effect. While comparing the case scenario with CAS, our team identified certain criteria out of which I am going to discuss the two most crucial ones, that is governance and workforce development. The governance model for this project was centralized type and the decision power was solely held by the government of Queensland. It would have been a better fit for CAS if the management was decentralized and the decision power would have been held by individuals at every level, as CAS is believed to function better with a decentralized management and a distributive power authority. Coming to the last part, that is the workforce development, well, CAS believes that the most powerful processes begin at the staff level and the micro level of the organization. It is very important for feedback to flow from the bottom level of the organization, which includes of people that are actually working on the project. It is also important to gain customer and user feedback for the new system before implementing and putting it live into the market. These criteria were clearly seen to be missing in this project scenario, hence leading the case to the negative end.
Thank you, Ishan. Moving on to service ecosystem, we are focusing on service exchange and resource integration by applying institutional arrangements which leads to value co-creation. Here we have two scenarios that include the top three major actors in the case study. In the first scenario, Queensland government versus Queensland healthcare. Queensland government provides the budget limit and selects the best strategy for the project, and Queensland healthcare establishes the goals for ERP and selects the best technology for drafting the contract. The co-created value here is the customer satisfaction. However, the system led into failure since the government rushed into the project by selecting a sole contractor for such complex project and failing into payment of the staff by Queensland Healthcare. For the next case, we have Queensland Healthcare versus IBM. As you can see in the table, the co-created value is transparency and integrity. But again, due to lack of honesty from IBM and lack of communication on both sides, as we explained in the rich picture, the system also led into failure.
Thanks, Amir. When we see the project as a dynamic system, we start to find repetitive behavior patterns. By using it, we can understand events from a more holistic view and see unintended consequences of an action. System archetype is a name given to some dynamic which occurs in many different settings. They can be used as diagnostic, planning, and theory building tools. Here we are using them as a diagnostic tool. First archetype is called fixes that fail. In a specific situation in 2010, there was a delay in implementing the payroll system. Basically what they did was the healthcare signed off all the change requests at last minute to be able to implement the system earlier. But this action led to another loop which was going to project fail over budget and being system unable to perform properly. The other archetype is escalation, which was between IBM and Queensland Healthcare. In 2012, IBM was underqualified to implement the system, which was a threat to Queensland Healthcare due to possibility of failure in delivering HR and finance module. On the other hand, Queensland Healthcare was ignorant. They kept sanctioning last-minute requests without considering the consequences, which was a threat to IBM. What they did was IBM ignored all the red flags, which resulted multiple errors in the system. On the other side, Queensland Healthcare, they decided to implement the software with all the flaws, and it resulted chaos between HR and finance business processes. Using system dynamics in this project could assist owners to have a better risk register and see unintended consequences and consider the project as a non-linear complex system. What they did was they just signed off a scope change request at the last minute and they didn't consider all the consequences.
The explanation from the team helped us connect the dots between concepts and real-world problems. Now the question arises is, how is the team going to monitor or maintain this?
Let's answer the question by saying that the main problem in this case was not having independent oversight of the project, especially in applying system thinking. In fact, independent experts in system thinking who did not financially or emotionally invest on the project could figure out the root causes of the problems from different point of views in order to assist the decision makers in implementing the payroll system. Moreover, using different archetypes gave us enough information to support the idea that altering risk assessment processes for the project could alleviate many problems. In fact, our recommendation is having risk assessment and accordingly putting boundaries for scope, time, and budget during the execution of each phase when governmental IT projects are outsourcing. In terms of stakeholders' interactions, applying complex adaptive systems characteristics helped us to come up with the suggestion of decentralized decision making alongside flowing feedback from the bottom level of the hierarchy. Besides, sense making navigated us to the fact that utilizing better communication approaches could bring a common sense to solve many conflicts. Finally, we believe that making a live and productive connection between organizational-wide IT governance and project management best practices, such as well-defined procurement policy, could act as a controlling factor to build an ecosystem in which each party could create value in terms of delivering the required services.
Thank you, Mehdi, for your insights. Hope the findings generated by the Team Infinity might be utilized for future ERP implementation projects and can assist in saving millions of dollars for the organization. That's it from our end. See you next time with some other interesting topic. Until then, see you, stay safe, and keep innovating.